Ended it so well. If he wasn't the guy on him, I think it was
Joel Embiid.
Embiid took the run at it. Yeah, he got switched off. But I thought he did a good enough job to get them to that moment, and then it was just simply the luckiest shot in the history of the NBA playoffs. It was a four bouncer from the. He does not practice.
He told that. Everybody said that.
Come on, practice that shot.
Skip. See, when
did he practice shooting it short from the corner? Who's ever shot it?
Why do you keep doing that?
I know, but nobody's ever shot it short from the corner and it bounced twice and hit both sides of the rim and fell.
No.
It just won't fall. It won't go in. It's physically impossible.
Stop.
Okay.
You
know I'm right about this.
You know he didn't mean the literal sense where he practiced that shot. He shot it short. It hit the rim, hit the other side, hit the back, and went in. That's not what he means.
If he had Ray Allen that shot, you got me. But he didn't Ray Allen that shot, right?
It had the same result.
He shot it short. He missed that shot. That's the truth. He missed that shot.
No, he didn't.
And somehow it went in. It was the hand of God.
No, he shot it. He put it in.
It was just meant to. He did not put it in. Did he intend it to hit the front of the rim? No, he did not.
Skip. Daryl Morey built this thing through analytics and his evaluation of the way we take down the Golden State Warriors. We shoot more threes, make more threes than them.
All right.
Okay. Golden State is wounded. We don't believe the Warriors will be ever the Warriors again as we know them. And he's willing to scrap this. Even after a team that you've been chasing, their boat has, for lack of a better word, blown an engine.
Yep.
And you're fine. You're still in this race. So in other words, you say, you know what? We're going to blow our engine too. We're going to turn this whole thing over. Skip, this is a panic move. One team is, now you got to hope Klay comes back at some point in time next year and be healthy. Or Golden State's really not going to be the Golden State that we know. I don't believe Kevin Durant because, you know, when you get in that boot, Skip, that calf is going to, it's not like Kevin Durant got, you know, big ginormous softball calves. So that leg is going to atrophy some. So you're calling this a panic move, and it would be because it's time to panic. Why?
Because if you try to go as is between James and Chris Paul, and I think you would agree with this, that's going to fester, that's going to flare on occasion, and finally that's going to explode.
Well, then you got to get one of them up out of there then.
Okay. Well, how do you do that? You're stuck with gigantic. You're not going to trade Chris Paul's contract. It's what is it? $40 million.
Yep, 41.3.
Okay. All right. Well, you can't trade that, so you're stuck with that. But you need to bring in a new leader, a new peacemaker, a new referee for those two. That's what he would be.
This is how you know there's a hierarchy. You're not coming in no matter, and just all of a sudden, Chris Paul's like, bruh, I got more All-NBA, I got more All-Star appearances than you. James Harden says likewise. He's not coming in being no leader. You think Chris Paul and James Harden's going to listen to Jimmy Butler?
I do. And in part because he's more physically imposing than either one of those guys.
Skip, this ain't boxing. This ain't the NBA. They go by skill in the NBA.
Okay, I got it. But sometimes in the locker room when push comes to shove, if one guy stands up and gets right in the face and says, what are you going to do about it, Chris Paul?
Yeah.
Well, maybe Chris Paul will sit back down because Jimmy Butler will say, what are you going to do about it?
Skip.
And he is 6 feet 8 inches tall.
He is.
And he takes nothing off nobody, especially Chris Paul.
But I'm asking on the court, how does this mesh? You got 3 ball-dominant players. One is the most...
I don't know if Jimmy Butler's ball-dominant.
Skip, he needs the ball.
Not really. He's a catch-and-shoot three-point
shooter. No, he's not no catch-and-shoot.
He is, too. He shot 39% last year from 3 on catch. But sometimes in the locker room, that'll work.
Skip. When I think catch and shoot, I'm thinking Klay Thompson, I'm thinking Kyle Korver. I'm thinking Jimmy Butler is an all-star because he can get buckets. He's 34%, I think, career from the three-point line, which isn't bad. It's not great. It's not Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, but it's not bad. But that's not what he is. He's not a three-point marksman. So in other words, now all of a sudden, Daryl Morey, what you're telling us, you don't believe the three-point taking and making threes is the way to beat the Warriors.
Maybe he's going to dial that down.
Well, I need to hear him say it. Because he's pounded over everybody's head that will listen. He sent all these, remember all the analytics he sent in about to the NBA about how they missed calls and he paid all this money. Okay,
I got it. So the ESPN report said that 2 of 3 players would have to go to Philly. And maybe this whole thing is pie in the sky. I don't know, because I don't know what. If I'm Philly, I don't let him go. I'm going to figure out how to keep Jimmy Butler. But let's just say they were open to this deal. So 2 of 3 are Capella and Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker. So if if I'm bringing Jimmy Butler over, I don't want to lose Capella because I know you're not the biggest Capella fan, but it's hard to replace that. You can't just snap your fingers and replace.
Replace what? Did you see him against Golden State?
Okay. Well, I saw him during the regular season when he was really good.
But you told me the regular season don't mean anything. I saw James Harden in the regular season.
Well, but you got to have some semblance of a basketball team that you put together. So if you told me that they would take Eric Gordon and PJ, I'd say, done. I'll take Jimmy Butler. I need Capella just to do the dirty work.
Skip, how do you do?
I need him to be the alley to the oop, you know?
Skip, but how do you fit Jimmy Butler? Okay, if they do a sign and trade deal, that's 5 years at 190. That's 32.7 a year. Mm-hmm. Okay, how do you get that? And Chris Paul's 38 million, and Clint Capella's 20 million, and James Harden 40 million under the cap.
Well, I don't know.
That's 4 players.
I'm not a capologist, but apparently the ESPN report said it's doable if 2 of those 3 go back to Philly.
2 of those 3.
You need a third team
to take Capella.
Okay. All right, so fine. No, not to take Capella.
They're going to have to.
To take somebody around the horn a little bit.
Those 3 of those guys are going to have to leave. Philly would have to absorb 2 of those, which would mean
I'm not sure all 3 would have to leave.
I guarantee, Skip, there's no... Skip, how? How are you going to do... Do you understand?
I don't know. This is too complicated.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
That means Capella would... It is going to be 3 teams involved. Capella is going somewhere other than Philly, and he's not going to be on the Rockets. P.J. Tucker and Eric Gordon is going to Philly. If this deal were to happen, that's the only way it can happen, Skip. You can't fit 20 million, 32 million, 38 million, and 40 million under a cap.
Well, you can if 2 of them are already your guys. You know, I think it would work.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Skip, they would have 3. They could have 3 max player and a $20 million player.
Okay, so you're saying this won't work then?
No,
You're saying?
not with Capella still on the roster. Yeah, it would work if Capella went somewhere else and you traded Gordon and Tucker, and now you got Jimmy Butler. You would have what they would call a big 3. Those salaries, yeah, those 3 max salaries. But no. You couldn't put Clint Capella on that roster and still fit all 3 of those guys on there.
Okay, well then I don't know how you'd fill out the rest of the roster. So
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's my point.
Austin Rivers is a free agent. You still got Gerald Green. You got Daniel House as shooters that you could bring back. I don't know. You'd still need some big people to do some big things.
How about you stand pat and Chris Paul and James Harden put their egos aside? Skip, we believe that if they had got the 2 seed, they'd have gotten to the Western Conference Finals. I believe they would have beat anyone else in the West other than Golden State. But they goofed it off. James Harden missed a free throw. Paul George came down and hit a 3. They ended up winning the game and pushed them down. And so instead of getting Golden State in the Western Conference Finals, who knows? Kevin Durant's out for the entirety of the series, Skip. Now we might be having a total different discussion. But because they goofed it off, they ended up getting Golden State in the second round. Now Daryl Morey is willing to blow the thing entirely up.
The problem is Chris Paul is over the hill. Okay. Chris Paul can't live up closely to the problem was Daryl Morey gave him, going back a summer ago, the max. And he's not worth it anymore. He degenerated right before your very eyes to the point that he lost a step, so he doesn't defend the way he used to. He has no lift on any of his jump shots, so he can't shoot it even the way he used to shoot it, which wasn't great to start with. So he's a shell of himself to me. So that's why you need a Jimmy Butler, because if you stay as is, you're ball dominant with James Harden and you don't have enough else around him. You need another star. You're a 1-star team because Chris Paul is no longer a star.
Well, if you keep Chris Paul on that roster and he's over the hill, Jimmy Butler's not bringing a potion, a fountain of youth, so Chris Paul can drink it.
29. I mean, Jimmy Butler's still 29, so he can live up.
But Chris Paul's still the guy that you said is over the hill, still on the roster.
But whatever you can get out of Chris Paul, Jimmy would get out of him. He can just do it more with his mind than his body anymore, like we heard from Ray Leonard that time. You know, at a certain age, it's more about your head than your body. And that's what you could get from Chris Paul. And Jimmy Butler would help bring back out whatever the savvy was, the know-how. He would get the most you could get out of Chris Paul. But if you go as is, they're going to be a disaster next year. They will. Mark my words. This will crumble right before your very eyes.
I'm not so sure even bringing Jimmy Butler into the fold, it changes anything. If the reports are true, that James Harden gave an edit, says him or I, Chris Paul says, I want to be traded, you need to move me. How does Jimmy Butler resolve that? The issues, because the underlying thing that caused this is still there. Chris Paul believes James Harden is too ball dominant, and he's not.
Who's the leader of the Houston Rockets right now, as is? Who's the leader?
James Harden.
No, he's not.
Who is?
He never wanted to be.
I'm just saying, but
He leads himself. That's all.
well, who is?
You know, it was going to be Chris Paul, but he can't live up on the basketball court to it. He can't back it up. That's the problem.
So Jimmy's gonna come in and be the leader.
Yep, they need a leader. He would be the new rudder of this. He would be the new moral compass of this group. He would be the one who'd say, no, stop it.
Every guy that they've brought in there to try to be second fiddle of James Harden, he runs them off. Dwight Howard, he ran off. Chris Paul wants to get going. I don't see how the scenario changes if Jimmy Butler comes in. All it's going to do now, you're going to have a guy that really won't back down and might be willing to go nose to nose with James Harden and blows the blow.
Good.
That ain't no
I'd like to see
good.
it.
No.
No.
How does that
They
help
need
you?
to shake it up.
Skip, how does that help you? How does fighting in the locker room help you win games?
Sometimes it can clear the air. You've seen it.
Complicated personalities and some complicated math to make this proposed deal work.
Exactly.
We will find out. Free agency, of course, beginning on Sunday. All right, we're sticking with the NBA dating game. Could D'Angelo Russell be the Lakers' next big move? We're going to discuss